talkSPORT is officially your home of the transfer window as Jim White and Alex Crook bring you the Transfer Notebook, a brand new transfer podcast which will provide you with unmatched coverage throughout this January. In episode 1, which is out now, Mr. Deadline Day himself, Jim White, discussed one of the most memorable transfer stories of his career.
For myself, so many to mention. Mesut Ozil going to Arsenal. I remember that night very vividly indeed. My colleague at Sky, Geraint Hughes, was down there. Ozil signed for Arsenal a deal worth up to £42.5 million at that stage. He became the most expensive German player ever at that time. Kept on going down to Geraint at the Emirates. Is it done yet? Is it done yet? No, it's not. No, it's not. And then when the news came in, Geraint Hughes was surrounded by Arsenal fans who danced the night away. And he was a real favourite for a lengthy period of time until, as usually happens with these matters, the tide turned a bit. And many Arsenal fans at the end of it all were probably pleased to see him go.
Oh, I remember that signing. That was that marquee signing they were looking for, wasn't it? The fans felt like they needed something, a big name, and that was the one that came in. Yeah, very. I'm sure Jim will share a lot of memorable transfer stories.
How many did he end up? About 20 years of doing it now, Jim? Close to?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say that many windows. Well, in terms of years. But yeah, he was definitely at Sky for probably around 20 years, if maybe not. Maybe even a bit longer, actually. Yes, indeed.
Because you used to wear the yellow dress, didn't you?
Yes, and he wore the yellow tie.
Yeah, that's right.
Indeed. Yeah. And I brought the yellow.
Oh, it was you, was it?
I brought the yellow. I'd like everyone to know this. Yeah, our producer, Rufus. That's it. So, let me just quickly, because we do need to get to Brentford's victory.
No, let's talk about the yellow dress that you brought to
Sure. Let's just talk about me and then my team in this segment. No, what happened was the first time I was asked to take on the final shift of transfer deadline day, I thought, I'm going to wear a bright colour. So I thought, I bought myself an orange dress because I thought bright, nice, stand out. And I loved it. And then the next time I did it, I thought, I think yellow would work because we obviously, if you look at Sky Sports News, it has the yellow ticker and all that breaking news. So I bought a yellow dress and then that was it. The people that were kind of in charge of how it looks suddenly thought, yellow works. And after that, because previously you could wear what you want, after that it was you must wear yellow. Everyone had to have some sort of yellow in there.
So what year are we talking about this?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
2, 3, 4, something like that?
No.
After?
How? Excuse me? 2, 3, 4? What was 2003?
4. Yeah, 2003.
I think not. I was a baby then. No, it wasn't. It would have been probably 10 years after that.
Right.
Because I started at Sky in 2002, but I was behind the scenes.
So you was there then, yeah.
Yeah, but I was behind the scenes for about 6 years or 7 years, something like that. Yes, I brought the yellow. Oh. And yeah, it's Jim's yellow tie that's in the National Football Museum, not my yellow dress. No, anyway, that is the talkSPORT Transfer Notebook with Jim White and Alex Crook. You can tune in to your new home then for this January transfer window. Head over to talkSPORT's YouTube channel to watch the full episode. And we'll be catching up with our chief football correspondent and celebrity Manchester United fan Alex Crook later on in the show. Oh, let's take St Mary's now, shall we? Turned out to be a bad day for Southampton fans. Brentford finally picked up their first away win of the season at the 10th attempt after hammering bottom of the table Southampton 5-0, 4 of the goals coming in the second half. It is the second time this season that Brentford have scored 5 after they did so against Wolves at home in October. Southampton remain rooted to the bottom of the table, Cass. They are 10 points from safety as a result, with just 6 points to their name. They've lost all 3 of Ivan Juric's games in charge, conceding 8 goals and scoring just 1. Afterwards, he admitted his team have a lot to improve on.
They are very disappointed because things with the manager he was before doesn't go well, and with me it's the same thing. And with the other type of the football, we have to find some way in these 8 days to change the situation and change the season.
It's a tall order for Juric, certainly, to get Southampton out of the trouble that they're in. And actually, if you look at this stat, Cass, which is interesting with regards to Derby, who, as we know, have that record as being statistically the worst ever Premier League side, having accumulated 11 points back in 2007-8. At this same stage of the season, they had 7 points.
Right.
There was one point, if you remember, last season where we were a bit worried about Sheffield United. Perhaps they were going to break that record, but even they had 9 points at this same stage of the season. So are Southampton in danger of breaking that unwanted record? Do you think?
I don't know. I don't because...
Thanks for coming.
No. Well, what do you want? We're talking about a team.
From what you're seeing of them, are you thinking there's a team there that can get anything?
Okay, that...
Yeah, don't Ange Postecoglou.
No,
right.
Okay. Let's look at under Russell Martin at the start of the season. He stayed with his idea, and it cost them dearly. And should have Southampton got more points than they have? Yes, they should have. Yeah. They gave games away. If you're going to keep giving games away, you're not going to accumulate any points total at all. Now, watching them yesterday, one thing's clear with Brentford, right? Okay, they've got loads and loads of pace. They counter brilliantly. They'll flood you with players running forward, whether it's Lewis Potter on the left-hand side, whether it's Sade, whether it's Wissa, whether it's Mbumo. You've got Dansgaard, who's now controlling the midfield and making things happen. Yeah. It's so obvious, but it's hard to stop with Brentford because it's all based on pace. And the amount of times yesterday I saw Southampton running back to their own goal, chasing Brentford players. There's about 3 goals now where they're literally all chasing. And I get that you're trying to get back into the game because it was 1-0 for quite a long period until when obviously the floodgates opened. Yeah. So the floodgates opened, you get punished. I don't think Southampton know how to keep in a game. You know, I was at a game yesterday where Crystal Palace were outplayed for quite long periods, but they kept in the game. Yeah. And they were losing 1-0, but they kept in it. Yeah. Southampton can't do that. And whether it's the coaching, or maybe it's a combination of the coaching and the players that aren't good enough to do what's required. So when you ask me, can they make that total? At the moment, no, I can't see them winning a game, but I'm sure they will do. Yeah. But I can't see it.
I think one goal that kind of sums up Southampton's performance probably was the 4th goal. And obviously at that stage, you're going into the 90th minute plus. So it's game over, of course it is. But there was the substitute for Brentford, Paris Magoma, had come on. He was able to, first of all, sort of use his physicality to wrestle off one of the Southampton players. And then there were 3 players around him. Yeah. Not one made a challenge. No. He was able to just basically dance through them to then set up Bryan Mbumo, who then picked out Keane Lewis Potter for that 4th goal. But that, in my mind, I looked at that goal and thought that just sums up a team that is lackluster, has no confidence maybe, just didn't put in a performance that's needed of a team in a relegation fight. And it was game over at that stage, so maybe I'm being a bit harsh. But still, I just looked at that goal and thought, crikey, not one player has put in a challenge. And there were mistake after mistake after mistake from Southampton as well in that game. But Brentford took advantage for their first win of the season. Bryan Mbumo now casts 13 goals.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, you know what I've said a year and a half ago, 2 years, about Bryan Mbumo. As I said, if Salah leaves, he would be absolutely one I'd identify for Liverpool because I think he'd fit perfect into the way that Salah's job and how he plays.
Yeah, it's unlucky he won't go there.
No, but look...
I know.
I mean, one thing that did strike me from the game was Aaron Ramsdale saying probably to the people upstairs, we need a goalkeeper. I don't think the goalkeepers we've had are good enough to do the way I want to play. He gets injured as well. He's probably thinking now, I was at Arsenal, I'm England place, everything's under threat for him now. You know, being at Southampton, that decision to go to Southampton was, you have to pick the right club, and it might pan out well for him. I hope it does. I hope Southampton somehow find a recovery. But at the moment, that club's in freefall.
I know.
And I can't see a win, but I'd like to think somewhere along the line, Juric is going to find some solutions to what we've witnessed so far this season, which has been pretty dreadful from Southampton.
Yeah. Well, if you're looking at Southampton's next run of games, they host Swansea in the Cup this coming weekend, but then they've got Manchester United away, Forest away, Newcastle at home, Ipswich away. I mean, there's obviously no easy fixtures, but they don't breed much confidence looking at those games, I should say. Very quickly, did you see the story about the Southampton fan? Well, I'm not sure if it was a Southampton fan, but there was a son and an adult son, shall we say, who took his mum to the game yesterday in hospitality. This was put on social media. And the guy, I think part of the fun of being in that hospitality room is you got to predict the score. And his mum, who's not really a football fan, doesn't really care for it, decided to put down 5-0 to Brentford. Remember, she's in the Southampton lounge. I don't think they were Brentford fans.
She's a brave woman.
Obviously, she gets it right. The awkward thing is then Adam Armstrong is brought up to present her with a signed shirt or a shirt of some sort. She gets booed by the people in the room. I mean, how awkward.
Oh, not praising her. Well, she saw it coming.
Yeah, the soothsayer.
Even though she hadn't seen Southampton by the sounds of it. But what an embarrassing moment. Incredible.
Just awkward all round. Yeah, and if you do see that, you can find it on social media. The awkwardness is also Adam Armstrong, who's having to give it cheers.
She'll probably have her own column in the newspaper next week.
Well, she should.
On predictions,
Yeah.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.